Here to do our speed draw and yap sessions. It has begun. All right, let's get cracking. Let me get the chat up here on my computer screen so I don't keep having to look at my phone constantly. And then we'll get to drawing. This is a dinosaur request from yesterday. So we are taking requests. We already got a request from Summer in the horizontal chat for a surfer or a woman. But we're going to warm up with a couple portraits. So come on in. And let's do it. Y'all ready? Here goes nothing. Something like this. Let's go wild today. How wild can we get this face? Something like that. Something like that. Can you see a face in there yet? Do we see a face in there? What do we think? Do you see it? Let's keep going. See where it ends up. Let's just follow the drawing. I'm not trying to be too critical, just kind of let my instincts kind of take over. See what happens here. Something like that. Let's say, I don't know. Close enough. All right, let's find some shadows. Something like that. All right, we're just gonna reiterate what's there. It's like if you see something in the clouds, just keep reiterating what you see till it becomes something. All right, and I'm using my left hand, which is my non-dominant hand, to kind of take away a little of the control. All right, so let's do some smudging with my right hand. See what we can do. You know, I don't remember. Sundays are kind of funny. Some days might be a lot of people hanging around in the chat on Saturdays, and sometimes not. Because, like, I'm streaming a little early today because I have some things I need to do this evening. I figure people all over the world are dealing with the same thing. What's up, Rad? What's up, Ricky? What's up, Edward? How are y'all? Welcome to the chat. Are you an artist? What kind of art do you make? Be sure and like the stream if you can. Subscribe to the channel. Hang around. You want to make a request? Something like that. What do we think? Y'all see a face here? What kind of character do we think it is? Guy, gal, non-binary pal? I'm going to take our eraser here and start kind of reiterating some things, maybe like that. So this is just an eraser, and I'm just using it kind of like a, you know, like it's a white pencil or something. All right, something like that. Put a little highlight in the eyes there. There's our first face of the day. What do you think? Do you see it? What's up, Layla? Thanks for subbing, Edward. I love the kitty cat emote, Rick. Tay Tay the artist. Hey, I posted some of my art. Great. Tay Tay, did you post it in the Discord? Let me get some of this. See some details. Get some close-ups of the chaos. What do you think? My guys and my gals, am I non-binary? Oh, on YouTube, link us, Tay Tay. Proud of you, Tay. Good for you. Keep going. Be sure and link us. Let's see it. Henry says, that's awesome. Thank you. Looking good. Thanks, Tay. Let's do another one. All right, another two-hander. Y'all ready? Here we go. Something like this. Something like that. Something like that. What do we think? Give into the chaos. You know, you don't want to try too hard. You just want to have fun. Use lines like you're writing your signature. You know, don't concern yourself with proportions or compositions or anatomy. Just like draw some lines that are really fun to draw. And if that's your only goal, it takes a lot of the pressure off. There's so many ways in our lives that we put pressure on ourselves. So when you're making art, just like remove all that pressure and just kind of focus on the line quality and pushing the pencil around and giving up a little bit of the control. When you look at it, it kind of looks like Jesus. Thanks, Edward. How, bro? How? Z's. What kind of art do you do? And when you're saying how, bro, how? What are you asking? Tay, are you the artist? I talked to so many artists on here, Tay. I'm sorry. For Tay, were you the one that you were thinking about doing like a silent YouTube channel? And I was saying that whether it's silent or whether you're speaking, as long as you're just being you, it's fine. Is that you, Tay? I hope I remember. I'm sorry if I didn't. All right, so that's the beginning of the face. I don't want to remind y'all, I was using my left hand, which is my non-dominant hand. You know, part of this style of art or this philosophy is that, you know, I don't need to have complete control. I don't need to draw the perfect picture. I just want to kind of express myself through the line work and kind of not stress myself or add an uncomfortable frustration. Like there's so many things in our life that like we get so frustrated about or we're so hard on ourselves about, and you can make art in opposition to that. You know, whether you're at work or you're at school, you have to take tests, or you know, you're trying to draw a picture that's realistic. It can get stressful and so many times in life. And I think if you could practice making art that's relaxing, make art that kind of just relieves stress and allows you to kind of de-stress, you know, get things off your back, get things off your mind. I think that's a really beautiful way to make art. And also there's a little bit of a magic in if you're having a good time, if you're having fun making the art, if the lines are fun for you to make on the canvas, I like to think that the person looking at the art is also going to have fun looking at it, you know. And if the art is not fun for you to make, then what makes you think that the person looking at it's going to have fun? You know, if you're fighting and getting frustrated because you're being too hard on yourself, like you're going to see it in your artwork. And if you're being easy on yourself and you're giving yourself some grace and you're like loving yourself while you're making the work and letting yourself make mistakes and learning to like apologize to yourself for trying to stop you from just having fun or expressing yourself, I think we can see that in the artwork as humans, you know. There's a link. I do mostly realism. Yeah, bro's definitely not the next Picasso. Thanks, Zero. What do you call this art with the lines? It's kind of just like scribbles or contour lines or things like that. I don't really know, man. Just scribbles, automatic art. Shading. Yeah, Tay, good. I'm glad I remembered then. Hey, Angel Grant, how are you? If y'all are just getting in here to the chat, do me a favor and like the chat, subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. All right, let's do another one. Let's do what if we do a skateboarder? Let me see. I'm looking for oh, this is cool. All right, so we're gonna do a skateboarder, I think. So let's try this. And again, I don't wanna try too hard uh to dictate where the drawing might go. Like I can spend a lot of time trying to draw the perfect picture. And you know that's what we all do so much of the time. And I would encourage you to try to sometimes like abandon the whole idea that you're drawing a perfect picture and focus more on having fun while you're drawing the picture. And sometimes having the perfect picture or the most realistic picture might not be the point. You know, some of it is just having a nice time making art, you know? It's like if I'm having a bad day or if you're having a bad day, um I want you to try to pick up a pencil and a sheet of paper and just scribble lines, you know, and they could be nonsense. They don't even have to look like anything. But when you're scribbling those lines, I want you to keep in mind that you're scribbling lines about your bad day, whatever you're dealing with. If you're having a bad day, like let's draw a skateboarder, but instead of drawing a perfect skateboarder, I want to draw a skateboarder that allows me to kind of get a bad day off my chest. So instead of having a perfect, most realistic skateboarder, it's like how much room can I give myself to make mistakes? How much room can I give myself to not draw something realistic? You know, what if I go out of my way to express myself? I go out of my way to get my feelings off my chest. I go out of my way not to add more stress, you know? So it's just a different approach to the artwork. So instead of looking for a drawing that's realistic, I'm looking for a process. You know, I'm thinking about how I feel while I'm making the art. I'm thinking about how someone might feel when they're looking at the art. And I'm abandoning the whole idea of realism. And I'm abandoning that more for like a therapeutic approach, you know? Um, so I want you to think about that too. So next time you make art, don't feel like you have to make something realistic. It doesn't have to be realistic. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be pretty. You know, it just has to exist. And I think the world is a better place when the art exists. And it doesn't matter if it's great art or perfect art or terrible art. I don't think you judge art. You know, art is not generally like a contest. It's a process. You know, art isn't the end product. Art is all the time that you put into drawing the lines. Art is, you having a bad day and then going make a drawing about it. I think that's part of like the self-expression, and I think that can be what's important in your art rather than focusing on realism or focusing on keep giving yourself a hard time because everything's got to be perfect. I think sometimes you just can abandon all that and just try to express yourself in a way that's fulfilling, you know? Skate. Tay says, I skateboard during the summer. Thank you, Edward. No problem. Looking forward to seeing you when I do. Very cool. I might tomorrow. Yeah, Tay, you should go live. Okay, when probably around 3. Very cool. Very cool, Tay Tay. Feel free to link your stuff in here if you'd like. So everybody knows. All right, so here's the third drawing of the day. This is our skateboarder. If you can tell, here's some close-ups of the chaos. You know, when you get real close, it's just nothing, you know, but like to think the further you get away from the image, the more it kind of might make sense. You know? All right, so let's keep going. What y'all want to do? Y'all want to do another skateboarder? Y'all want me to just do a drawing and y'all can guess what it is? What do we think? How about... Let's do another face while I'm thinking about what to draw next, unless somebody wants to make a request. See, and when I'm doing this, I'm just like allowing my hands to just go where they might go, and over time the lines, they might look like something, and hopefully they look like a face. And when they start to look like a face, I try to kind of out of my peripheral see what the rest of the face might look like. And then I try to kind of draw using my peripherals. So I'm not like worried about the details, or I'm not kind of like staring up close at what's important and what's not important. I'm kind of convincing myself that none of the lines individually are important. It's about an accumulation of lines that turn into something important. And then I think if you start judging yourself right when you put the first line down, or you'll never get to the second line. And I think you can start to create in a way where you don't judge any of the lines really ever until the piece of art is done. And I think that kind of might give you a bit of like a freedom to make art in a way that's expressive and not, you know, maybe representative of the real world per se, so much as just like representative of me. You know, every portrait is a self-portrait if you're doing it right, you know. And I think there's something in learning to make art and constantly teaching yourself what's important and like what's not really important in all the drawings, is that you start to learn how it feels when something is important and something isn't important. And when you can kind of let go of the things that aren't important in your artwork and still make beautiful expressive art, like you get better at that. And I think it drags over into your life, you know. So like there'll be times in your life where you'll start to learn about things that really aren't that important, and you can just like let that go and keep moving forward and be happy with the end product. Because there's a lot of lessons in life just through sitting at home and drawing, you know. You can learn what's like hey, none of these lines were that important to me, or I didn't feel like I had to control them. And I almost feel like, you know, you kind of can get lost and fall in love with the process, and just kind of allow the drawing to unfold, you know, and you start to get comfortable understanding what you can and can't control and what you're able to let go. And I think over time, life is that way. So you'll get better at like functioning happily, functioning at your best, functioning in a way that you love life, even if you don't have control, or even if you don't know exactly how the end product's going to be. You know, by learning that every single line doesn't matter, maybe you can kind of enjoy your life more by realizing, you know, every single thing doesn't matter. Some things you got to learn to let go. And I think there's some great lessons in art of this style that, you know, I'm not teaching myself how to draw the perfect face. I'm teaching myself how to let go of things that aren't important. I'm trying to teach myself not to judge my decisions right out the gate. Like, allow myself to make some mistakes, have some grace. And here's another one. Edward says, can you make Bob Ross? Oh, drawing people's profile pictures is a great idea. No, Tay, I can't find you. I subscribe to you, Scoop. I love y'all getting on in the chat. Here's some close-ups. Tay says, I love this drawing. Thanks, Tay. Draw minds? What's that mean, Karis? Yeah, y'all be sure and like the stream here. Give me a sub. I'd appreciate it. If anybody wants to make a request, let me know. Otherwise, I think we'll keep moving on. Does somebody want to make a request? Otherwise, we're gonna draw a jazz musician. It's hard to see. Y'all's profile pictures are so small. Summer, are you still hanging out with us? Did you see the skateboarder I drew? You got to weird. You should be able to go. I did. How did I do that? Can you draw my profile? Hey, Abby. Welcome back, Abby. To make your subscribers. Oh, y'all are just chatting. Okay, all right. So let's see what we can find here. Looking for a good picture that I haven't drawn yet. Well, that's a pretty good one. That's pretty cool. All right, let's fucking go. All right, when you can tell what I'm drawing, be sure and tell me in the chat. Edward, you want me to draw a picture of Bob Ross? Is that what you're saying? So look, like, I know what the drawing should be, and I can draw realistically. And I'm looking at an image, just a photograph, and I could spend hours trying to get every line perfect. But there's things about your signature, like when you write your name 1,000,000 times, like how much fun it is when somebody asks for you to sign your signature. Most of the time it's like, oh, I can't wait to ask for somebody to ask me to sign my name or something, And you get excited about putting those kind of lines down. And there's not a lot of pressure when you're signing your name. You've done it so many times that it's just kind of a fun process to write your name. And I think that if you're drawing the right way, it can be a similar kind of process. And the same thing, like the way your signature is like really hard to replicate because only your hands create those lines. I think that if you draw in this style, you can end up having a similar kind of signature style coming through that doesn't happen if you're focused on realism. I think if you allow your hands to kind of make those mistakes and do those lines and make decisions that maybe your conscious mind wouldn't draw if you were really focused on doing the perfect drawing, I think that your style starts to come through. That accumulation of mistakes, those accumulation of ways you did the composition wrong, or you drew that shadow in the wrong spot, or your anatomy's wrong. I think the accumulation of those mistakes can over time become your signature, People always say they love my subs. Well, that's good, Tay. My subs are public now. Subs. Thanks, Scoop. Oh, are you subbed to me, Scoop? I think you've been subbed to me. Oh, you must be talking about Tay. It's a person holding a guitar. Thank you, Sil23. Be sure and sub, Sil. All right, so now let's find some shadows here on our guy or gal. I appreciate you seeing it and saying it, Sil. Okay, so be sure and sub to the channel, like the stream, please. Okay, so I'm just finding some shadows here. And they don't have to be in the right places. I'm looking at a picture here and I see where shadows are, and I draw generally where the shadows are. But as I'm doing this, I can see that I made mistakes, and that, like, some of these lines are in the wrong places and some of the lines are missing. But it doesn't matter. I just put a highlight close to where the highlight or shadow should be, and just kind of let it be itself. And there's a discipline in teaching yourself to kind of not fix everything all the time. Like, sometimes if you fix the mistakes, you might start to lose the magic that you were revealing through the subconscious mistakes you were making. There's magic in mistakes. And I think you have to kind of learn to harness those mistakes into a style over time. And if you're spending every moment judging every line you lay down, you spend every moment judging every decision you make, I think you kind of start dialing out what really makes it you. And I think you are what makes it magic. There's magic in the world every day, and I think it reveals itself to us through art and through music and through literature and films. And that magic comes from humans just allowing themselves to be expressive. And as an audience member, as a viewer, as a person, you get to look at this art and kind of see how someone is feeling. And seeing how someone is feeling as magic as it sounds. You can draw some lines on a sheet of paper, and it's almost like people can see inside of your mind. And if you spend too much time, like, refining or removing all the personal things that make it you, then everybody's work's gonna look exactly the same. It's like, how far can you allow mistakes to flourish? And some of those mistakes become your signature style. And some of those mistakes are just mistakes, maybe, that you kind of leave along the wayside. But I think if you don't, strengthen that muscle that allows yourself to make mistakes, that allows yourself to be expressive, then you won't get better at that part of art. And I think, sometimes we might get confused when we look at things like AI art, and we're like, oh, wow, that's beautiful art. I can just go make art with a click of a button, or I can make art just by a prompt. But art isn't the end product. Art is the entire process. Art is making the mistakes, learning how to work with them. Art is all of those things. If you're not going through a process, if you're not making mistakes on your own, then you're not making art. Art is the process. Generating a picture is maybe what AI can do, but creating art is a process. Think about jogging or going for exercise. When you go for a jog, you don't have, like, this end product of a jog. This jog is such a pretty jog. No, the whole point of going for a jog, the whole point of exercise, is that the process makes you healthier. The process makes you a better person in so many ways. And I think that is what art is. Art is the process. Art is, like, if you go for a jog, when you're done jogging, you're healthier. Okay? When you make AI art, when you're done making the art, you're not any healthier because you didn't go through the process. And I think going through the process is what makes you healthy. You can have a robot go and jog a mile, but having a robot jog a mile for you is not going to make you healthier. Having AI create art for you is not going to make you healthier. Dragging a pencil across a sheet of paper to express yourself is going to make you healthier. It's going to make you a better person. It's going to make you a happier person. So don't forget that. It's a superpower that you have as a human being, to drag charcoal around a sheet of paper and express yourselves. Okay, I'll be back. Maybe AI can't make feelings in the images it generates. Most of it, that's true. Well, it's about the process. AI can't go through the process. There's no process in AI. It's just prompt. And all of the importance of art is in the process that comes from human experience. All right, we're gonna do one last drawing and then I'm gonna get out of here. All right, y'all gather around. If you haven't heard it today or recently, I want to remind you, I love you. I'm proud of you. The world is a better place because you are in it. So don't forget that. What's up, silly puppets? What's up, Edward? What's up, Seal? What's up, Scoop? What's up, Tay Tay? So don't forget that. You have a superpower, you know? You're going to deal with conflict in your life because that's just part of life. There's going to be so many different ways you have conflicts and bad days and things you're dealing with. And you might deal with conflict from school. You might deal with conflict from work or from a relationship. You know, and a lot of times, sometimes we can deal with conflict just from within ourselves. Like you might have conflict with your health, mental health, or physical health. There's so many times in life where we deal with conflict. You know, and I want to remind you that you can take all that negative energy, all that negative conflict that gathers in your life. It gathers in your shoulders, in your jaw, and in your mind. And you don't have to carry that around with you all the time. You know, you have this superpower where you can take the bad day, whether it's at home or whether it's at work or whether it's at school, whether it's with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your non-binary partner or your job or your wife or school. You can take all that negativity and you're able to transform it into something positive through art, through your art. You know, so I want to remind you that if you're having a bad day or you're dealing with conflict or like, you know, as an artist, you might deal with a lot of big feelings. You might be hurting or feeling terrible, or you might be depressed, or you might have anxiety. And I want to remind you that you are a fucking superhero, okay? And that you can go and write a story about those feelings, about that negativity. You can draw a picture about that negativity. You can go dance about that negativity. You can even jog about that negativity. You can go play a game about it. But you could write a poem about it. I want to encourage you to express yourself when you're having a bad day. Express yourself when you're feeling negativity. Express yourself when you're feeling down and depressed. And express yourself through some kind of creative art form. You can draw about it. You can write a poem about it. You can write a film about it. You know, there's so many great ways that you can express those emotions, and that negative energy is an opportunity to be a superhero. Because in a world full of negativity, if you can take that negativity and you can transform it into something positive through a creative expression, you give other people permission to go do the same thing. And before you know it, we're all spending time transforming negativity into something positive. And if everybody's doing their best to transform negativity into positivity through art and self-expression, then we're literally making the world a more positive place, one piece of art at a time. So I want to remind you, you're not alone. Your feelings are valid. And sometimes it hurts to just be alive and deal with things in life. And that's where the magic of this art comes in. So when you start to deal with that kind of negativity, when you start to deal with those kind of feelings in your life, don't take it out on your friends. Don't take it out on your family. Don't take it out on your community. Don't take it out on the drywall. Don't take it out on the people closest to you. And don't take it out on yourself. 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 You take it out on art. That's literally what it's for. You are that person. The more, and you can train yourself. The better you get at expressing yourself through art, the more you're going to give people permission to express themselves through art. And you're inspiring people. And you are that person. You are that artist. You can do this. You can start today. You can start drawing terrible drawings today. They don't have to be good. They don't have to be bad. They just have to be. All right. And the world is a better place because art exists. Okay. And you and I were here to make art. And the world is a better place because you exist. The world is a better place because you exist. You're doing a fucking wonderful job. You can become a better artist. You can become a better person every day. You have the answers. You have the superpower. Keep doing it. All right. I stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays around 5 p.m. Los Angeles time. I appreciate you being here. Keep being here. Keep hanging out with us. What's up, Stay? What up, Edward? What up, I Know Red Lights, original lyrics? Be sure and like the stream, sub to the channel. I'd appreciate it. Thank you for being here. I'm proud of you. Keep being an artist. Don't take it out on yourself. Don't take it out on yourself. Do not take it out on yourself. And look, you're not alone. You got communities like this. There's more than just this community. But this one is here for you too. And I just want to remind you that you're important. And you don't have to draw the prettiest pictures to be an amazing artist, to change people's life, and to change the world. Just be you. Be you loud. Be you creatively. The more you go through the process, the more you create art, the better you get at going through the process and creating art. And you can do that, and I'm proud of you. The world is a better place because you're in it. Don't take it out on yourself. Don't take it out on yourself. Don't take it out on yourself. Take it out on art. All right, I'll see y'all next time. Be sure to like, subscribe, and sub. I want to see you here next time. I appreciate you being here. I'll see you today, Saturday. I'll see you on Tuesday, if not before. Take it out on art. Give yourself some grace. Find what you love. Go towards it. If y'all want to hang out, there'll be about a 5-10 minute after party on the horizontal stream. We're streaming on YouTube horizontally and Twitch. So if you want to hang out about 10 minutes after for the after party, I'll see you there. Otherwise, like, subscribe. I'll see you next time.